Hello, and welcome to the KinkCrusader channel. On this channel, we dive into and explore kink and fetish communities around the internet. Since I can imagine that YouTube will have a problem with the content featured in this video, please feel free to support me on Patreon to get access to the uncut video. Part 1. Introduction. In this first video, we will be diving into feederism. According to PubMed, feederism is the eroticization of weight gain and feeding. Feederism communities can be found throughout the internet on popular sites like YouTube, TikTok, and Reddit. There are also dedicated sites to the fetish, such as curvage.com. In feederism, there are different types of roles people take. According to research, most feeder relationships are heterosexual. The feeder is the person who encourages the weight gain of their partner. They are typically men and more dominant in the relationship. The feedee is the person who gains weight or eats large amounts of food for the feeder. They are typically more submissive and predominantly female. In the homosexual community, gainer is the more popular term to describe men who gain weight. Feedees are the ones in the relationship that garner the most attention from the internet due to their weight gain. Additionally, there are also fat admirers who are not particularly interested in weight gain, but just larger bodies. Any gender can assume one of these roles. On top of weight gain, feederism also involves sub-fetishes such as burping, farting, humiliation, struggle, pregnancy, and many more. Part 2. Curvage. As mentioned before, Curvage is a site that is completely dedicated to the feederism community. This site allows for members to socialize and for content creators to sell to their fans. The forums contain a variety of different topics. The forum mostly consists of people posting images of both themselves and larger individuals found throughout the internet. There are images forums dedicated to the weight gain of both men and women. Some accounts appear to be controlled by the feeder, while others by the feedee. Many of the creators have forums dedicated to them where they are praised for increasing their weight and encouraged to continue on their journey. On the board named Curvy Women Picture Compilation, there are many images that appear to be taken from the social media accounts of unsuspecting individuals that are somehow known by the poster. I'll talk more on this later. There are boards dedicated completely to women from TikTok posting about their weight gains. In addition to the image boards, there are also boards dedicated to people talking about other aspects of their lives and how having this kink affects their relationships. On the Lifestyle Discussion Forum, people discuss everyday situations that appeal to this kink, such as coworkers complaining about gaining weight. In the Relationship Forum, people not only discuss their own relationships, but seek to find others who may be willing to start a new relationship and meet up in person. Part 3. Feederism on other sites. The fandom of feederism is not limited to dedicated sites. There is a considerable amount of this content on other content platforms such as YouTube, Reddit, and TikTok. Feederism on YouTube goes back to the very early days. Many videos can be found that are over a decade old, and some that go back to the very early days of the platform. Few have addressed the fact that this content exists on the platform, although there are a few videos that talk about the subject. Most of these videos on YouTube are stolen from the original content creators and reposted. Many of these videos have been demonetized, but they are still not very hard to find. However, there are some creators that publish their content on YouTube in order to promote their other sites, if you catch my drift. Similarly to YouTube, most of the content on TikTok is also stolen from creators. However, there are some adult stars trying to promote their sites as well. Reddit has many not safe for work forums dedicated to the feederism fetish. The forum r/stuffers is the most notable of these forums where individuals post pictures and try to promote themselves. Many of these individuals can also be found on Curvage. Posts can also be found on Reddit where people vent about either being a feeder or being in a relationship with one. The response to people who are into this kink is typically not positive, especially when people are actually living it out. Some threads, such as the Fit to Fat thread, have been infiltrated by members of the feederism community, and there are warnings on the board to prevent people from posting content that caters to these individuals. Part 4. The Psychology of Feederism. Warning, I am not a psychologist. Like many kinks and fetishes, people usually develop them through some early childhood exposure. There are very few academic papers written on feederism, however there is plenty of information to be mined from Curvage. In the Lifestyle Discussion Forums, people discuss the origin of their interests. Many people claim that they had a plus-sized relative or came from a plus-sized family. There are also individuals that became interested through exposure to the community through the internet. Some people claim that they became interested after watching someone eat a large quantity of food. The psychology of the community is complex due to the different roles that exist. Feeders may have a strong interest in the control aspect of a person gaining weight. Some are fans of people unintentionally gaining. A feedie might be someone who was suppressed previously in life. On the site Curvage, models like Goddess Shar have expressed that they have been part of the modeling world, but hated the standards that they had to try and live up to. She claims that becoming part of this community has been very freeing to her and has allowed her to be her true self. Being their true self happens to be a common narrative among people. Overall, there is no one particular cause of people to be interested in feederism. As mentioned in the previous section, the community of feederism has been freeing to some individuals. Both the women and men find themselves with a sense of freedom from embracing the fetish. Not only that, but they also find comfort in being embraced by such a welcoming community of individuals. Part 6. The Dark Side of Feederism. The most obvious downside to this kink is the fact that it causes weight gain, sometimes in massive proportions. A high weight is associated with many health problems such as heart troubles and diabetes. Some members of this community acknowledge the unhealthy aspect to this fetish and even embrace it. Others use the body positivity movement to claim that they are healthy at any weight. As I mentioned before, on Curvage there are many images that have been stolen from the social media accounts of unsuspecting individuals. This invasion of privacy is unethical, but the unsuspecting aspect of the weight gain appeals to some individuals. The content that is reposted could be particularly harmful to someone who is struggling with their weight if they happen to find themselves on an online forum. Most sites do not have any sort of safeguard against people being able to save these pictures. One particular dark side of the community can be seen in this Reddit post, where a user talks about feeding his girlfriend until she was morbidly obese. In this thread, he talks about how he constantly encouraged his girlfriend to keep eating until she developed health problems and had to be hospitalized. This thread may be false, but it is not unlikely to conclude that something like this has happened based on the content that can be found throughout the internet. Part 8. Conclusion. The feederism community is not going anywhere anytime soon. They have been around for a while and will most likely continue to do so. This community appears harmful to some and beneficial to others. As the body positivity movement grows, most likely so will this community. Pun intended. The taboo nature of this subject will always appeal to someone out there. Thank you for watching. If you are interested in content like this, consider subscribing. Like I said in the introduction, if you would like to support me as I explore these communities, please take a look at my Patreon. How do you feel about the feederism community? Feel free to discuss in the comments. Also, if you have any communities you would like me to look into next, please feel free to let me know as well.